Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you with us today because, well, we're tackling a topic that is universally challenging, deeply exhausting, and let's just be real for a second, incredibly stressful. We are talking about how to instantly calm a crying newborn. Look, if you've ever stood in the middle of your living room at 2 in the morning, bouncing a red-faced, screaming infant while running on literally 0 hours of sleep, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's intense. That feeling of pure desperation when nothing seems to work is something so many of us experience. But today, we're going to change that narrative. We are breaking down 4 highly effective, proven techniques to calm your baby down when absolutely nothing else seems to be working.
So, be honest with me. In those stressful moments, do you ever feel like you're just failing as a parent? When your baby is crying uncontrollably, it is so incredibly easy to internalize it. We think, hey, I'm the parent. I should definitely be able to soothe my own baby. What is wrong with me? I really want to validate just how common that feeling is. But more importantly, I need to emphasize that it is absolutely 100% incorrect. You are not failing. Babies are complex little biological beings, and calming them, it's a learned skill, not just some pure automatic instinct. We just need the right techniques.
And before we even jump into the actual physical techniques, I want to reassure you with some hard data. Science actually tells us that almost all babies go right through a natural period of fussiness that typically kicks off around 2 weeks of age. But right here at the 6 to 8 week mark, that is when this crying and fussiness peaks. It is a completely normal developmental phase. And honestly, the best news is that it naturally resolves by 3 to 4 months of age. So you're just in the thick of a temporary phase. It will absolutely pass. But while you're in it, you need strategies.
Okay, let's dive into this and look at the clear roadmap of exactly what we're putting in your parenting tool belt today. We're covering 1. The science of soothing. 2. The flex and hold. 3. The 5 S's method. 4. Using a baby carrier. And 5. The football hold technique. All right, let's get right into section 1, the science of soothing. So, before we literally pick up a crying baby, we need to understand the biological why. We are essentially trying to reverse engineer the environment where they felt the absolute safest, the womb. But first, a quick disclaimer. Before trying any of these advanced holds, you gotta run through this basic checklist. Just make sure your baby isn't crying because of an immediate physical need, right? Ensure they aren't hungry, overtired, sitting in a dirty diaper, or sick. Once you've checked all those boxes and they're still crying, well, that's when it's time to apply the science. Now, this is wild. We usually think of the womb as this quiet, serene, completely peaceful place. It is anything but. Check out this quote. "The blood rushing around the placenta is as loud as a vacuum cleaner." That brilliantly explains why loud shushing and white noise machines are so deeply comforting to a newborn. When you're shushing them, you aren't just making some random sound, you're actually mimicking the intense, rushing noises they listened to 24/7 before they were born. Now, the other massive biological pillar of soothing is movement. To really prove this, let's rewind to a fascinating and pivotal study completed in 2013. Researchers monitored infants under 6 months of age because they wanted to scientifically measure exactly how much babies actually rely on movement to calm down. They didn't just casually survey parents. They hooked these babies up and tracked their physiological responses under completely different conditions. And the data is just crystal clear. When researchers compared a mom sitting perfectly still to a mom walking around, they saw massive, significant decreases across the board. The moment she starts walking, the baby's rapid heart rate plummets, their jerky voluntary movements decrease, and the intensity of their crying drops off way more significantly than when the mom is just sitting there. So science proves it. Babies prefer movement, and movement is biologically calming.
Moving right along, Section 2, the flex and hold.
Armed with that science of sound and movement, let's talk about the flex and hold. You're going to hold your baby so they're facing outward. Take one hand and support their little legs so they're flexed right up against their body. This tightly contains them, perfectly recreating that physical sensation of being cramped up inside the womb. With your other hand, gently guide their hands close to or even directly into their mouth. This is so crucial because letting a baby suck on their hands releases this incredible flood of calming hormones in their brain. And finally, you do not stand still. You want to move in a rhythmic vertical motion up and down, while simultaneously giving them that loud, vacuum-level shush. You are literally recreating their favorite place on Earth.
Next up is Section 3, the 5 S's method.
Now, if the flex and hold isn't quite doing the trick, this method perfectly sequences everything into a reliable routine. Step 1 is swaddle. Firmly wrap the baby to mimic that womb containment. Step 2, place them in a side or stomach position while holding them in your arms, which stops that scary falling sensation they get when they're flat on their backs. Step 3, sway. There's that vital movement we saw in the 2013 study. Step 4, shush. Now here's an absolutely crucial tip. You have to match the volume of your shushing to the intensity of their cry. If they are really screaming, your shushing has to be loud enough for them to actually hear it over their own noise. And finally, step 5, suck. Offer a pacifier or a clean finger to trigger those soothing brain hormones.
All right, section 4, using a baby carrier.
Guys, this one is an absolute lifesaver for those sleep-deprived days when you just have to get things done around the house. Newborns usually love being in a carrier because, once again, it gives them that tight, warm containment. But the catch here is that you cannot just strap the baby in and collapse on the sofa. If they're upset, you must keep moving vertically. Walk around the room, do some gentle squats, just move. Plus, you can't forget the other soothing pillars just because they're strapped to you. You still need to give them something clean to suck on, like a pacifier or your finger, and you absolutely need to turn on that white noise machine or keep up your vocal shushing. It is the combination of the rap, the movement, the sucking, and the noise that creates the actual magic.
And that brings us to section 5, the football hold technique.
If you're dealing with a highly unsettled baby who is just fighting the swaddle or constantly arching their back, this is the hold you want to deploy. You suspend the baby face down right along your forearm, supporting their head in your hand while their legs straddle your elbow. It is fantastic for relieving painful gas pressure on their tummy. But I want to reiterate the triad of soothing one last time here. The hold by itself is not enough. You've got to keep your body moving continuously. You need to encourage that sucking reflex with a pacifier, and you have to deliver that loud vacuum-level shushing right near their ear, matching the level of their cry. Before we wrap up, there's one specific scenario I really want to address to help normalize this incredibly trying time for you. You might notice your baby is perfectly happy all morning, but then they become wildly unsettled, specifically in the late afternoons or early evenings. This is often called the period of purple crying. It's a well-documented, totally normal developmental phase where completely healthy infants just cry way more than at any other time in their lives. So if your baby is going through this witching hour, please know that it is temporary. It's just a phase. You are doing a fantastic job, and you will get through this.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. I really want to leave you with this final, empowering question to think about. Which of these 4 soothing techniques are you going to empower yourself with tonight? My biggest goal today was to completely neutralize that awful guilt you might feel when your baby cries. You are not failing. You just needed the biological context and the right strategies. And now you have the scientific tools, the movement, the noise, the containment, and the holds to confidently comfort your baby. So pick one, try it out with confidence, and remember, you've totally got this. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on The Explainer, and keep learning.